Hi everyone, I'm Charlie, welcome to Two Devs on a Sofa. Today we've got a very special guest, so Mike, special guest, I'll hand over to you to introduce yourself.
Hello Charlie, my name is Paul. I'm an Agile coach and a certified Scrum trainer. Hello Charlie, hello Mike. Thank you for having me.
No worries, it's a pleasure to have you on. So Paul's very important to the Academy. He's one of the guys that comes in to teach you and he'll be taking you through how to learn Scrum. And it's a pretty good course. We do it quite early on because we run the whole course in Scrum. If you're asking what the hell is Scrum, then probably the best person to talk to is Paul. Luckily we have him here.
Yeah, I'll try and answer it as best I can in a layman's terms. So Scrum's a framework. It's a framework really primarily aimed at product development, but more particularly more appropriate for products which are growing in a complex environment. So complex defined by customers. If customers don't know what they want, or likewise, which is probably more appropriate, is technology. If you don't know how you're going to do the solution yet, Scrum works very well for elements of uncertainty to give you opportunities to move in different directions quite quickly.
Cool. So it's kind of iterative in its nature.
Yeah. So short bursts of work, and then reevaluate where you are, and if you need to go in a different direction, or if it's not worth it, stop.
Cool.
That's the idea.
So within the community, Paul's been a bit of a Scrum champion for a while, but I'm guessing it hasn't always been that way. What sort of brought you to Scrum in the first place?
I started life. The whole story starts in a company called BT, British Telecom.
Nice.
Heard of them? Fairly big. And we started doing. I was more of a project manager, classic project manager in that that sense. And we, one of the team read a book on Scrum. So it was kind of, no one had ever really heard of it then. It was kind of just a book on someone's desk. Yeah. And my boss said, that's a good idea, but perhaps we should try it. So we were in one part of BT, which was quite small, and we're doing a lot of stuff under the radar, so big BT kind of corporate structure around us, but our boss gave us a lot of license to, he didn't really mind, as long as you get the job done and no one moans, then we'll be okay. So we did a lot of stuff without permission really, and we tried a lot of it. We had some friendly customers who we had some good relationships with, which was really helpful.
Nice.
And just tried it out, and it wasn't perfect, and we had to change a lot as we went. But we made some just little successes in some little areas in BT. And then, we'll go back to about 2003 now. We had a new CEO that came from the States and started talking about Scrum and Agile, big style. Okay, so it was obviously a lot more popular in the US, so came back to the UK and said, we should be doing this much more often. And then basically cherry-picked out all the coaches and trainers, the people that were doing it in BT, and I was one of them. And that's kind of how I got started with coaching. Primarily started out as drifting around the company, various different
So you're helping out in BT to implement Scrum?
So I was going to visiting various teams and just helping them to do it.
Yeah.
Became an internal trainer, and I then was pushed or encouraged to do more certified training. Yeah. I started that journey in 2006, so I became a certified trainer, and then I started doing certified trainings in BT. And it's kind of exploded since then. What we thought was going to be it's just a
little thing.
Short-term 2-year thing. It will roll on. Yeah. People will do something else in 2 years' time. But now here I am, and it's still going now, and I'm independent, doing it myself.
It's one of the most popular working sort of methodologies on now, isn't it?
It is.
Pretty much implemented by nearly all tech companies in one way or another.
And I think it is something that tech companies are kind of expecting people to be able to at least understand, at least to be able to talk in that language about the benefits. If you don't know all the buzzwords, but you know at least the advantages of doing things in that way, especially in the kind of software tech world.
Yeah, definitely. Which is is exactly why we do it as part of Maiden Academy now. Yeah. And we do the CSM qualification, which means you completely understand how to do it when you go straight into industry or already ready to work in a Scrum environment.
Exactly, and whilst that training doesn't guarantee that those people are going to be amazing at it first time around, it does take a bit of time, but the aim of those courses is to give people just enough knowledge to at least be confident enough to start off and refine those skills as they go. Yeah.
And you get to play with Lego, most importantly.
That was
a bit of a spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
Massive spoiler alert. Yeah, we try and make it as exercise based as possible.
I forgot about the NDA. I'm so sorry. That's fine. Awesome. So there's quite a lot of challenges with adopting Scrum, and obviously you've been there since it's actually been coming to the forefront within the tech industry.
Yeah.
Are you finding that there's challenges when it's adopting it, or?
I think there is, even now. I mean, it started formally, you probably put the Agile kind of manifesto around 2001, that kind of time, so 15, or more than 15 years now. Can't do the maths. But no, it's even now though, it's like, I think people still will tend to revert back to how they've always worked before. So if projects, if businesses, if delivery has been around pre-2001 or pre-1990 or so, people are still very much entrenched in this is how we did things before, and it was very logical. It seemed very sensible at the time that the waterfall approach was we do things this way, and then the next phase, and then all phase-driven delivery. Now, if your company or if the people that I'm teaching or coaching are stuck in that kind of mindset, it's really difficult, and it's really difficult to ask someone to do something differently if they're used to doing something
or if they don't believe in it.
Or if they don't believe in it, or if they can't. It is quite threatening for some people, and Agile, as you guys know, is all about kind of motivation, trust and support of allowing the best people to make the decisions are the people doing the work. So you put a lot more trust in the people that are going to be building the projects. And some people in some larger organisations particularly, where they feel they're threatened by that, managers or anyone more senior, might be threatened by people making their own decisions.
Delegating out responsibility a bit more.
So it's like, hang on a minute, where's my part in this? And some people really struggle with that mindset of saying, I've got to let go of the control that I had and basically delegate it to people in the teams. And that's a big challenge of people resisting that change because just through fear, a fear of losing out or fear of lack of control.
Sure.
And even at the very top of some organisations, kind of CEO levels, it's people really still struggle with the fact I have to relinquish control, let other people make decisions, and just support people. Still a vital job for those people to play, but it's much more about supporting people and motivating people rather than telling them what to do, pointing fingers.
I suppose there's a flip side to that as well, in terms of people that are entrenched in their own ways of thinking, but you get the positive side of it when it's people that are coming to it as new as an industry, and they're just blank canvases.
And by far and away, those guys are a dream to teach, and the academies are good examples of those. They're the people that I'm pushing against an open door. These guys they've got no legacy, no baggage to come with them, and it's just everything I say to them is like, so I've furrowed brow, kind of making a really profound point, but they kind of go, yeah, that makes sense. there's no exactly. So wouldn't you do that anyway? And a lot of what my teaching, and the toughest teaching that I do, is not really a learning experience; it's an unlearning experience. I have to tell people how not to do things. Rather
retraining.
Exactly, retraining and getting people to really think the problem. So it's great to come and teach the academies here because they just accept it. There's no resistance. And
after the first couple of weeks, they get in that learning state of mind, they're like proper sponge brains. You can tell them stuff.
So I don't then flood them through material, so I need to give them something else. They're just lapping it all up, so I'm running out of stuff. What can we do next? So,
more powerful.
Exactly. So it is a very, very different experience, and teaching people. And you notice it now. There's more companies that I'm becoming engaged with and teaching and coaching that were started after kind of the Agile Manifesto was, so it's kind of just become the way that we do things. There's no older way to teach. But I think there's a very slow process that eventually the waterfall mindset will, I don't think it'll die out completely, but it will certainly become secondary to how teams and businesses want to do that.
It's definitely
the default will just become
Scrum.
That's the hope, and I think it'll take time. But
it's a huge tick box when you look at sort of job applications and job interviews, and then the list of skills that they require. Scrum's now becoming this dependency that a lot of people require as a tech business.
And it's not just Scrum; it's a much more. It's a softer skill. You're looking for people that can communicate, collaborate effectively, and and if people can work in that way, then Scrum is kind of just a framework within it. And it's, if people have got the right approach, rather than being quite defensive about working in silos and about individual recognition, whereas people now are more aware that actually that's not what gets you further in life or in business. It's about a different skill set that perhaps actually at school and at college we maybe weren't taught that so much, but I think it's kind of now business is starting to realise that there actually is.
And I think it's the same on the flip side actually. Like for me, since I learned Scrum, I don't know, maybe 2008, 2009 time, and I started working in a Scrum way. Since then, every time I've moved jobs, every new company that I've looked for, that's been something that I've looked for. So not just companies looking for people that can do Scrum, but actually developers are out there looking for companies that are doing Scrum, because of that level of responsibility and that level of control over what we're doing is actually much more essential to me as a developer. My role.
There's much more choice, and you don't have to look so hard these days to find people that are doing it. And I think that's great. So, and equally, companies don't have to look very far to find a huge amount of developers that have those skills as well. So it's really advantageous for both types of people, for businesses and for the individuals themselves.
It's awesome. It's great. It works both ways. So I suppose the last thing to do would be taking it away from someone that's come to Scrum from this video for the first time. Is there anything, any resources that you'd recommend, anywhere they should go, apart from coming obviously to the Academy to learn Scrum, anywhere else that they could, as a starting point, learn a bit more about Agile? Or?
So if you start at the very basics, I mean there's loads of free stuff on the web that you can read, and there's some fairly lightweight stuff and some videos and YouTube stuff. I suppose the central source of Scrum these days is a website called scrumguides.org, which anyone can look at, and it's just a fairly short, succinct few pages on what Scrum is at its core. If you want to go a bit further, perhaps speak to some people about it, there's loads of user groups in various different parts of the UK and Europe and the world really. It's kind of a growing community. It's quite a rich community. If you just want to speak to some people that are doing it.
Find those on places like Meetup.
There's loads, and there's one in kind of the Bath, Bristol area, so there's one around here. But all over the UK and Europe. And if you want to read any, there's loads of books, loads of books. Just tap into Amazon Agile, and you'll find a swathe of books by some really good authors. So, absolutely. And massive plug, but
here it comes.
I've written a book, but it's much more about it's the softer skills of the job. It's more about, and it's actually a link to improvisational theatre and things like that. So it's a bit more of an advanced look at how you can adjust and increase your collaboration skills, things like that.
Great.
So, I mean, it's not. I would suggest again, don't just look at Agile books. Look at anything around kind of collaboration and communication skills, things like that. It's going to be a good insight to what it's all about and what we're expecting.
Sounds great, yeah. And I think if you want to hear more from Paul, Agilify on Twitter.
Yes, Agilify UK on Twitter, or me on Twitter, Paul K. Goddard on Twitter. Yeah,
definitely.
Make sure all the links for all of those resources and everything below the video for you as well.
Yeah. And Paul does a great pubcast, so it's a podcast in a pub.
Talk about Agile in the pub over a pint.
Best way to do it. Cool. So that's everything from us today.
Great.
Thanks very much, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.